Mike, imagine with me, if you will, that international demand is placed upon the United States to give back to Mexico or to give to Mexico all of the United States territory west of the Mississippi. That means not just giving them the land, but everyone living west of the Mississippi would have to get out, move to the east side, and then that we would also have to give Washington, D.C. to Mexico as their new capital, which some of us would be willing to give up D.C., but that's beside the point. And our resistance would incur the wrath of all international nations around us, including Canada, threatening to invade us from the north, that there would be a blockade then around the perimeter of our East Coast, and that our money would be tied up. That's kind of what's going on in the land of Israel. Israel is being told, get out, die or get out, go back where it was that you came from, somewhere in Europe in the world's estimation. And the demands are made under the threat of international warfare. We are living, unfortunately, through days of, I don't even know what word to use to describe it. I'm stressed. My mind's in 100 different places at the same time. No matter what I'm doing, my thoughts are elsewhere. And there is just this under the surface seething of anger or brokenness and prayerfulness and quick moments of rapid intercession all at the same time.
Yeah.
Israel, as a nation, is facing a military conflict and engaging in such, living under the threat of a rocket coming through their living room at any moment. That's that fight or flight mentality that develops spiritually. We're tasting a little bit, just fractions of that ourselves. You just never know the moment that you're going to break down into powerful intercession because something's going on. What a way to return from our time off during Sukkot. I hope you had a great Sukkot. I heard that you did. We certainly did, but Sukkot ended with the thud of war breaking out in Israel. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning. And I don't know if you can hear, I know that you have the Red Alert app on your phone, and I don't know if you can hear it's right here. This rocket's going out continually from Gaza. Good morning, Barry. Let's kind of put this all together. What you just described is what George Bush was actively involved in supporting with Ariel Sharon, a time of the Gaza pullout.
Mm-hmm.
So if, for people that don't know the history real well, it was Bill Clinton in the Oslo Accords that changed got the ruling changed to where Arabs, Palestinians, so-called Palestinians in Israel would be able to own and have firearms. It was then in 2005 that George Bush, some would say, pressured Ariel Sharon to give away land for peace. And so the blood is not just on the leaders of Israel, but the blood is on the hands of politicians and those who supported those politicians in the United States. Barry, we could go through a lot of details, a lot of facts and figures. I just got off the line with Hanok. Israel update will be out by probably about 10:30 today. By the time before this broadcast is actually up, I have never in my life seen Hanok that emotional. And it was a very difficult recording for us. I recorded last night with Daniel and David on Life on Purpose. Those of you that have young adults, youth out there, I would really challenge you to. We did a program on why Israel, why as a young person with their hopes and dreams, everything ahead of them, why should they be involved in this? Why should they be following this? This is my fourth recording in 24 hours that I'm doing right now. But I want to start with a statement that I just put on Facebook a few moments ago, Barry. If it took war for people to remember the importance of Israel, will those same people forget that importance in time of peace? Your thoughts?
Peace is a supposed goal and desire. It is during the time of peace that we become lethargic and we lose the vigilant mindset. We become numbed or distracted from what's important. Nobody wants war, you know. There was a quote that I think was attributed to Stonewall Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. He said something along the lines, and I loosely paraphrase here. It's good that war is so horrible, or else we would love it. There are those minds that they are given to tactics and maneuvers on the battlefield and winning against your adversary, but seeing the bodies dead on the ground and the horrors of war should cause a great bitterness of taste in one's mouth. Well, that said, Mike, Israel is not fighting a war against an army. This is not the adversary, the enemy that Israel is facing is not necessarily commanded by generals and war rooms and stratagems and so forth that are raised out of a military college somewhere. Israel is fighting a pack of wild animals.
I hesitate to say animals because I do not want to degrade animals that way.
Let's just say it this way: they're fighting a pack of demon-infested mobs,
demon-infused individuals. I just was listening. Hanok was just talking about with the foreign media being allowed to go into these towns such as Ashkelon and Sderot, the videos are coming out. Hanok said he had just been watching some. He said, do not watch these. Can you, I don't know if you can hear that dinging in the background, Barry, but as we've been online, there's been about 10 rockets come out of Gaza just since we've been on in about 10 minutes here. Barry, my point I'm trying to make here is, and I just posted this on Facebook. You won't believe what I've almost posted. It was only it's only been the wisdom of my wife that kept me from posting a few things. I'm watching people that are all of a sudden Israel minded.
Yeah.
That a week ago could have cared less. A week ago, Israel was not a point on their radar. That they, in fact, were making statements. One person I know of that said, well, I don't really care about modern day Israel today. It really doesn't matter. These are Messianic people that are making these statements, not secular people. And so I to me, you know me well enough. Israel is not a fad.
No.
The port of Israel is not a fad. support of Israel is part of my life. It's part of who I am because of the just, I mean, if you own a Bible, look over at your shelf there next to you, Barry. There's not a single one of those scriptures that was saved because of a church father. It was all Jews.
Yeah.
Who gave their lives, many of them, so that the scriptures would be intact for us to have a revelation of who the Messiah is. So am I a little somber? Yeah, I got that, Barry, of the thoughts that are continually in the back of your mind, and then you got the Red Alert app, and I really challenge people to download Red Alert and
It
just
will bug
imagine.
you. It will bug you, and it will drive you nuts if you have your volume up while you're trying to sleep. It will wake you and keep you going all night long.
And you want to turn it off.
Yeah.
But the problem is that every time I look over, that's another one, in case you can't hear it. Israel can't turn it off, guys. To us, it's just a ding or whatever sound notification you have. To them, it's a rocket. If you're outside of Gaza, you have, in some places, 15 to 20 seconds to get to a safe shelter. Which, by the way, some of the people that went into those shelters when they heard about the atrocity, what was going on, some of them went into their shelters, locked the door, and when the demonic infused beings came into their house and couldn't get in there, they set the house on fire and the people burned to death. The statement I heard from someone yesterday, and I know I'm repeating myself on the different programs that I do. Somebody said, well, they just need to go in and carpet bomb and take, yeah. What if it was your grandson, your granddaughter? What if it was your infant child that you knew was in one of those tunnels tied to those rockets? How just flippant would a person be about that statement, Barry? Let's just go carpet bomb the whole thing.
People speak, Mike, without thinking, without considering all aspects of what they're talking about. What Israel is facing, having to do, is after the strategic bombing of particular sites are completed, and it's hard for me not to, when I'm watching the videos of the explosions taking place in Gaza, not to think, why didn't you knock the building down beside of it, and so on. You're wanting get them is what's in your mind.
Yeah, it's easy when you're sitting here in safety.
I also understand that Israel is more strategic and more exacting in what they're doing than we would be, because they live there. And they also know that once they cross a perceived line, that the world will demand ceasefire. You have to stop. You can't do this anymore. Right now, because of the horror of mutilated infants, when I heard that report yesterday, I just went completely numb. As you were describing, people burned alive in their homes, and the hundreds that they will find at a time massacred in a town. The understanding that no female is going to likely come out of this unravaged. They don't care. The idea that they would just drag bodies to the streets while the people celebrate and throw candy at one another. That horror will be alleviated and will be forgotten if Israel goes an inch too far in the world's perception.
Yeah.
We're also looking at once all of that's done, the tanks and ground troops having to go in and, not only have to deal with the debris that they have caused, but to also get through booby traps and sniper fires and so on, and root this thing out. And you would think, well, where the plea on the United States media especially is, where are these poor innocent 2.2 million people going to go? These
Swim out in
poor,
the ocean for all I care.
the two plus million quote unquote innocent people are those that were receiving payments because their sons and daughters went in and massacred and killed. They're the ones that are celebrating and dancing in the streets when Israel is attacked in any form. They're the ones that throw candy to the children. They're the ones who teach and indoctrinate the little ones in their midst to hate and to become filled with the same demons they are. Are there innocent Gazans? I'm sure that they probably are. That's to be understood. But as a country, if you remember in the book of Matthew, Yah separates the sheep from the goats. When you look at that a little more closely, that's not individuals, that's nations.
Yeah.
There are sheep nations, there are goat nations. Gaza is a goat nation, and he is separating them for destruction.
I believe that those in Gaza who may be, like the centurion standing with Israel have been there, and they're not wanting to see this, that the Almighty has ways of protecting them and even getting them out of that situation. Hanok said that usually they would go in and they would do strategic bombing. Now that's over. That's over. If civilians die, they die. And maybe Barry, what we're seeing will bring forth a new interpretation for us of verses in the Torah, which were instructions to Moshe upon entering the land. Do not even let the animals live. You're to go in and kill men, women, children. Why? Because this demonic influence must be torn down to the root. So for those that have been trying to figure out now, why would they do that? You go and look at the videos we have children listening. You go look at the videos of what has been done to these people. Barry, on another note, this is a time of Judah's trouble. We all read about the time of Jacob's trouble in Scripture. And my question to people is this: if you were not standing with Judah during these days, standing in prayer, standing in financial support, I'm going to give a way to do that in just a few moments. If you're not standing up against your neighbor who is ranting something of anti-Semitism, if you're not willing to stand up in a conversation regarding this time of Judah's trouble, and you find yourself in the time of Jacob's trouble, what makes you think that he's going to hear your prayer in that day?
Mm-hmm.
If we won't stand up in time of Jacob or Judah's trouble, we might not want to be calling on him during the time of Jacob's trouble, because he might be turning a deaf ear to us.
All of those who are saying, I just want to win the Jews to Yeshua. I want to go over and lead them to their Messiah.
Yeah.
Those well-intentioned soul winner brigades that want to go over with their witness wear and hand out tracts.
Yeah. Let me teach you a Hebrew word, sheket. Which is something about shutting the mouth.
Yeah. Yes. none of that has any impact. What has impact is when they understand we're crying out to the heavens for you, and we are sending whatever support we can get our hands on to you, for you. And we will call heaven down on top of the heads of any of our governmental representatives who will refuse to acknowledge and support you. We will encourage others around us to pray and offer support and to do likewise. And we will walk out of any church or local congregation that refuses to intercede and encourage people for Israel.
Well, Barry, with that said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just saw a meme the other day, on this past Sunday. Someone said, if your pastor is not asking and leading the congregation in prayer for Israel, get out.
I just said this on let me bring it a little closer to home. If you can look back over the last month and your favorite teacher has not mentioned Israel in a month, if the leader of your congregation has not mentioned Israel for a month, if there has not been more than just a passing, oh, let's sing Shalom, Shalom, Yerushalayim, if there hasn't been more than that in your congregation in the last month, get out. If all there is this week, this Shabbat, is just oh yeah, by the way, guys, there's a little bit of a, there's a war, and stand up and walk out. Do not give a dime, not another dime to someone that will not stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel. This is serious. And I once again say, if it took war for people to remember the importance of Israel, when this war is over, they will forget it again and cause the same thing to happen one more time.
I've been thinking this morning, Mike, about 1 Samuel 30.
Remind me.
The Amalekites had come in while David and his men had been out. And they came to Ziklag, and they took captive all of their women and children and burned their city with fire. David and his men came back and saw all of their families gone and everything they had in flames. His men were so disheartened and discouraged that they thought, let's just stone David and go home. David encouraged himself in Yeshua, or in Yah, and asked for the linen ephod. And he asked the question in verse number 8, do I pursue this band? Do I overtake them? Yah answered him, pursue, for you shall certainly overtake them and certainly rescue. Now they went and they rescued their family, and they found the Amalekites partying and dancing, celebrating their great victory, until David and his men showed up and wiped them out. Yah told Moshe, you will have war with Amalek constantly. I shared this with you yesterday in Isaiah chapter 11, Yeshayahu 11. There is the verse that talks about Ephraim and Yehuda would no longer have their contentions, but they will partner together and fly down together on the shoulders of the Philistines, which are, and I know Palestinian and Philistines are two separate entities. I get that. The Palestinians, however, live in former Philistine territory. There are no living Philistines that we're aware of today. So the modern day version of Philistines, even though they're not related, I understand that. So, you spare all the comments on that part. Modern day Philistines are revealed to us as Palestinians. So the idea that we're going to fly down on them and wipe them out seems to be available to us only, and somehow at some point there's going to be this partnership and we're going to take care of this issue. What that says to me is no matter how Israel handles this issue now or even in the coming near future, there is still going to be enough of a threat from this entity that in the future there's going to be a partnership to go in and to take care of them. So don't think that Israel is going to completely wipe them out at this point. That seems to be something in the future. So there is it's the same heart. Do we go in? Will we recover? You know, the threat is you try this and we'll kill them all. Job one is to try to recover the hostages.
Yeah.
To the best of our ability, to the best of their ability. Job two is to completely wipe out the military capabilities of this mob. And the only way that that's going to happen is not through military skill, it's through intercession. There is a war in the spirit realm taking place between the principalities and powers that are over the Hamas and those that are for Israel. And we need to be asking, may your heavenly warriors, the host of heaven, be vigilant and overpowering against the powers of darkness. Read Daniel chapter 10 reveals that there is indeed principality level warfare going on over nations.
Yeah. And Israel is the focus of that, Barry. There's no doubt. I want to give people in the few minutes we have closing, I want to give people a couple of possible ideas. Number one is that Friday, this coming Friday, and of course, Israel is 7 hours ahead, I believe it is. So, everybody's got a phone, guys. Please don't email me and ask me what time it is in Israel. You go to your phone, you hit the little button, and you have your own world clock there. Take responsibility for knowing what time it is in Israel. The other thing, I know, it's just, I wish I could apologize for my blunt. I just can't. The emotions are a bit on the raw side. So, download the Red Alert app. Go online. If you do not have a map of Israel, I'm not talking about one on your computer. I'm talking about a physical map, one like right there, a physical map of Israel in a prominent area of your house. You need to go online immediately after. In fact, while you're listening, you need to order a map of Israel and put that in a prominent place so you can tell your children, your grandchildren, you could point them to that. You never know what that may be for generations to come. I could give you examples. I don't have time on this. But this Friday, of course, is the Muslim Unholy Day. And they will be massing probably on the Temple Mount.
Yes.
For their prayers. We don't know what's going to happen after that. There's already some shootings in Jerusalem. And it could get really out of hand really, really fast. So Friday morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock their time, we should be praying for protection for them in the land. I'm going to be posting a message from Hanok Young that he was doing. He did at your place, at my place. It was recorded at Joey Mons, and he found it. It's going to be posted about some of the details regarding Israel itself. Lastly, one idea. I have a contact in Israel at a restaurant that is feeding IDF soldiers. Now, I was in the military. I've eaten sea rats. I've also eaten MREs. Neither one of them are food, should be considered food. They're terrible. So I have a restaurant in Israel. I'm going to be just a few minutes. I'm going to be sending a donation to them. You know the prices in Israel for food. Well, this restaurant's closed down, and the only thing they're doing is cooking meals for soldiers. Their cost for a meal for a soldier is $7. $7. And so if people want to send money in, they can go to my PayPal account, HINENI@MAC.com. They can give there. They can give via credit card through my website. They can do whatever. Just note Israel on there. And we're going to be sending funds. Can you make a difference in Israel? For about the price of a terrible cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can put a hot meal in the stomach of an IDF soldier.
Yes.
So I'm going to be doing that. We're sending a sizable donation. Usually about this time leading up to an Israel tour, we have a lot more money in our account for that separate account than we do right now. It's not looking real good. So we're going to do everything we can. I will bring that account down to zero if I have to be a help to Israel. So this is a time that people need to be supporting in prayer, donations, put something in your house, put a mezuzah on your door, pray, get involved, because the time of Judah's trouble will one day be the time of Jacob's trouble. And that day includes many of you.
So,
I'm done.
Two thoughts here. One is when you give money through Mike to Israel, please know that Mike does not take a percentage cut for himself for his trouble of operating that. Every dime you send, Mike will send on. I just know Mike's hard on that.
We even cover the administrative costs of PayPal. So if you want to give a little extra to offset that, it's appreciated.
The other thing is this. While we're praying for our brother Yehuda in the land, be aware that Jews will be targeted the world over. Hamas and other entities have their squads the world over placed. So don't be surprised when you hear of Jews being attacked in the cities of Europe or even here in the United States. The other side of that is this is anti-Semitism. It is the spirit of anti-Semitism. I heard somebody on the radio yesterday that ought to know a lot better that was saying that being anti-Israel is not necessarily anti-Semitism. I thought, have you lost your mind?
That's stupid.
I mean, that's beyond foolish. So the spirit that rages against Yehuda, the Jews, it's not limited to that house of Israel. It is all of the covenant body of Yahweh. That includes us. That same spirit that loathes, despises, and hates Israel as we know Israel as a nation now also hates us, and for the same reason.
Yep.
So that same spirit that is devising men to rise up and to be violent against our brother Yehuda, the Jews, will also devise plans for us. So while we think, well, it's kind of like me being in my house and it's safe and secure while there's an earthquake going on the West Coast or a hurricane in the Gulf Coast, it doesn't affect me. This affects us. And if you think the storm can't come to our land, into our homes, and into our communities, you're deceiving yourself.
Got that.
So be vigilant in your prayers. Be firm in your support. And this is not time for a fair weather friendship with Israel. This is time to let the world know who you are and what you stand for.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Please share this video with your friends on social media. Encourage others to watch it. Send it to your pastors, to your congregational leaders, if they're not already watching. And Mike, prayerfully, Yah will give us reason to celebrate next week. We meet again.
Yeah, I would really pray that things would change to where next week I can be nicer.
I understand that.
Focus had four of his 5 tours cancel. My last day to make a decision is October 30th. At this point in time, I'm still planning on going forward. That may change. I don't know. We will see.
Yeah.
So, Barry, till next week.
Shalom, brother.